For me, it's a story. My cars have to run. I'm not a collector who just puts stuff in a corner. And the main thing is to have, but rather my cars run. My passion is by and large English cars. I collect English cars because I love the entire culture of England. All the things. The country itself, and especially the cars, which I associate with being a car collector, what remains from the culture of English automobiles. Back then they really built beautiful vehicles, and now my passion for collecting English automobiles has grown to 6 vehicles. And so I would say the highlight of my small modest collection is actually the Humber Imperial. Currently, only 56 Imperial vehicles are registered in the UK, so that means there isn't much left of all these vehicles. And that's actually something that always fascinates me. It's this rare saying, like in England in general, what remains of the entire automotive industry in England, the manufacturer, the Roots Group, is actually known in Germany when you tell someone the vehicle is from the Roots Group and is a Humber Imperial. And then everyone says, oh, what is that, if you ask me? And the funny thing about it is that the Imperial is actually the top model of this Humber Super Snipe. Super Snipe is actually called Super Schnepfer in German. And for the Snipe, it was actually the luxury vehicle of the 60s. One must say, not only quirky vehicles, but the English also have quirky names for them. Because in Germany, if it's a vehicle, it's a Snipe. So I found it funny, and everything actually fits together, which I also like. This story, this search for the Humber Imperial was actually very difficult for me initially, because I was specifically looking for this car that I saw in the story search, where I wanted to have it. And in Germany, I believe there's nothing to find at all. So I did some research and I don't even know what's available in that area. And then I thought, okay, I'll start in England. And it wasn't difficult anymore. I flew to England 4 times to look at a vehicle that was offered to me. And I didn't mind buying projects if something needed to be done, but they were all essentially stillborns that were found there. In England, I actually spent over 2 or 3 years on 4 separate occasions returning from England without any success because I found nothing in my search. And then it was just a fateful encounter in Holland to get this vehicle. And the funny thing about the S-Rail is that it is actually my own birth year, 1966. And that makes it even more special. And that makes it even more intimate. The same year of manufacture. And yes, I have to say, I found it great to find it as a left-hand drive, because initially it wasn't the intention at all to find it as a left-hand drive. And I have to say a few such fateful things. Left-hand drive was still in the year of manufacture, and not even having to drive to England, it was really in good original condition. So these are the things where you say, especially the left-hand drives, that were built. I can't say that I moved it here so mechanically. Somewhere in this body from my England, from Chuck and Marbury, between 1831. I am very, very happy to be here. 15, the CD carrier in the city of Hengst and Vienna. 15, it also first came from Lidholm in the year 1966, from such a trusted chief and the trusted dealer who was delivered until then in 1966. He eventually took it back from the family in the late 80s, where the owner had basically died. So once you are loaded in the initial delivery, then it is considered dead. From 80-year-old dealers, when we then sold the car again from inherited ownership. So quite a nice history comes out of the whole thing. And I just find, in terms of form and the whole driving experience, the charging alone is, I really think it's great what you have to drive on the base market. It's this gliding, just gliding along, relaxing with the vehicles. For the 1966 model year, we even have an air suspension, specifically adjustable. Back then, they really placed value on it, on the luxury of the vehicles. The Imperial is actually the top trim of the Humber Super, and with the pigmentables in the back, adjustable air suspension. The vinyl roof, that was really only available with this trim, so with this interior trim. With the Humber, it's incredibly fun to drive the car because it just simply, with its pure 6-cylinder, 3-liter with over 120 HP, simply the same as the wine is. So it's always amazing, namely the engine. You actually don't hear it at all. You sit there in the car and it's silent, staying in connection with the automatic. It doesn't have to be a V8 anymore, or even the pure 6-cylinder. That's a very, very refined engine. It just really has a silent stain. You actually don't hear the car from the outside at all. And it's extremely fun to glide along with the car. Also, regarding the drive, how many seats, how many simulations? Sitting at home on the sofa, gliding at 80 on the country road when it's just really a pleasant thing. For the model year, one must say, for the 60s, where already for safety reasons, there were the huge seats with armrests and so on. So, even with the people, 4 people there without leaning, space where you can really take a longer trip. And given with over 160 km/h, I have never driven that fast because I actually don't know how to push it to the limit. It's like driving at 20 on the highway, where you can also walk through with your feet, bringing us to the conclusion without being excited. So it is really very pleasant